your name, your organization, the country you're joining us from, and how excited you feel about this event. Introduce yourself and do well to rep your countries, and do well to give a shout out to one or two persons that will be introducing themselves. Okay, so while we have more people introducing themselves, let's give you a rundown of the agenda for today, introduction and a pulse check, which we're already doing. And we'll take you through the opportunities at AFC and what AFC is about. We understand that there are a number of persons who will be joining us for the first time. And then we'll go to our speaker's introduction, the presentation, and then the opportunity where you get to ask Q&A questions. And lastly, we'll be connecting you with AFC. That is for those who are joining us for the first time. So stay tuned till the end so you know how to benefit from what we are doing and also learn from what we are and how you can plug into it, as well as our dashboard features for those who are already part of our community and those who would be joining us after this session. And I'll be closing with next step and also a closing remark. Okay, so I can see a number of persons introducing themselves. I can see Sam Idoko. I guess Sam is from Nigeria. I can also see Beth Mwangi from Kenya. She's happy to be here. We're happy to have you. I can also see Landry Bakanirora, as well as Umohodi. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right, and in case I'm not, apologies. And because Africa is quite dynamic and we have amazing names. Can see no sister Zacha from South Africa. She's the founder of La Sisa Farms. And I'm seeing a lot of Nigerians. So those who are not Nigerians, kindly rep your country. I'm seeing somebody from Malawi. That's Gadi Banda. It's amazing to have you today, as well as persons from Kenya and Rwanda. So just keep introducing yourself. Keep the chat the chat box bobbing. Introduce yourselves. You can never know who you would be meeting and connecting with, and that is one of the key things you stand to get by becoming a community member. So keep networking, meet people, reach out to them, chat with them, and get to learn more about what they are doing. Okay, so we'll be taking you through what AFC is about. I understand some persons are new, while we have people, existing persons who definitely know what we do here at AFC. But for the new persons joining us, we'll be sharing a very short introductory video of what we do here at AFC.
Hello, my name is Ndidiokon Kwawuneli, and I've spent most of my adult life trying to change narratives about Africa.
What struck me when I moved to the US was that the face of Africa was a hungry child. I'd go to dinner parties and people would say, oh, my mom used to say, finish your dinner. There's starving children in Biafra or Ethiopia or Eritrea. I'd see, pictures of these starving children in infomercials, in train stations, and it just made me so angry because that was not the face of Africa that I had grown to recognize in my own backyard.
The African food narrative is often misconstrued. What if we told you a different story? What if we showed you how Africa feeds itself and how Africa can feed the world? Meet the African Food Changemakers, a community of entrepreneurs changing the narrative about food in Africa. Watch how they do this through their small and medium-sized enterprises, which we believe are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. But then, faced with the devastating impacts of climate change, global and local risks and shocks, and macro and microeconomic challenges, these entrepreneurs struggle to survive. Through training, funding opportunities, exposure, trade linkages, and a vibrant community fostering peer-to-peer collaborations, We're empowering entrepreneurs for global reach and recognition. Our programs and resources support climate resilience and adaptation, business development and entrepreneurship, gender equitable agri-food systems, international trade capacity building, and other key areas. With significant impact made since 2022, we are growing our community one agripreneur at a time and spreading our reach across the continent.
Hi, my name is Ngozi Roland Nonegonke. I'm the CEO of Sem Foods and Spices.
My name is Bayo Adegbe. I'm co-founder and CEO of Akubo Adegbe.
I am Changemakers Egemba, also known as Chef Amaka, the Queen of Afrofusion.
My success story cannot be complete without AFC. AFC is the way to go. If you're looking for the right network, if you're looking for the organization that will support you, both in capacity building, both in holding your hands.
The PRAISE program has really impacted us in a large way. In the way we work, we actually work with smallholder farmers, and a lot of them are in the rural area. They don't have this understanding. So what we've learned through the PRAISE program, we're now imparting it to the smallholder farmers that we're working with.
There are certain things that I got from the leading African women in food fellowship under the African Food Changemakers. And one of them is the mentorship programs. Indeed, I can't wait to show the world everything that I've learned.
Only AFC can give you that opportunity. Don't miss it.
Join us to be a part of our community and support our vision of 1 million successful and sustainable African agri-businesses recognized and respected globally. African Food Changemakers, nourishing Africa and changing global narratives. Partner with us today.
We need to support small and medium-sized agri-food enterprises by creating an enabling environment for them, providing training, catalytic financing, enabling them to scale. We also need to support women-owned businesses, especially those run by young women. We must collectively build a food ecosystem that works not just for us, but for future generations. Join us.
Okay, so there you have it. These are the many amazing things we do here at AFC. Just like you can see on the screen, it says we are a non-profit organization that is committing to nourishing Africa, and then we understand SMEs are the lifeblood of food, and we call them our change makers. So if you are part of our community and you consider yourself a change maker, do also come into the comment section and say, I am a change maker. If you're doing anything within the food ecosystem and is making impact, is changing the narrative about Africa, you also come into the chat box and type I. In fact, this is how we're going to do it. It has to be affirmative. Say I, Anna Mambula, I am a change maker. So we do a lot of things at AFC: community, data opportunities. We also give visibility to our members and also learning and training. And our vision is to see 1 million African entrepreneurs, an emphasis on the African, 1 million African entrepreneurs that are changing the narrative about food, how we eat food in Africa, how we see food. So you don't have to just be a farmer. Our community is filled with a lot of different and dynamic people doing different things. We have chefs, we have cooks, we have processors, consultants, and even those who are creating innovative technological products and lots more. Okay, so we'll be sharing with you some of the opportunities we have here at AFC and how you can, some of the opportunities we also believe you can plug in with. These opportunities are broken down into funding, capacity building, trainings, events. So first off here is Believe, Be the Future. It is financial support that is providing grants, and it's open to everybody from any country you are across Africa. Deadline is actually a week, less than 2 weeks rather away. So do well to go to afc.org/funding and see the details of this grant and how you can apply for it. We also have our Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks program. The applications are open. So if you are, regardless of the sector you are in, the food space, producers, farmers, innovators, climate change is affecting us at different levels. So it's a capacity building program that we believe you should plug into. And then the deadline for our bridge program is going to be ending on the 16th. This is less than 10 days away. The application is very simple. Just go to our page and you will definitely see it. We also have an event. This is for our Kenyan community. It is the 8th Africa Agri Expo 2025, which is going to be holding from 19th to 20th of February this month. So do well to go to afc.org/event to get more details and also register to attend the event. And finally, for trainings, we have a sustainable agri-food supply chain management course you should plug in. It is a paid course and it is also certified. And the institution offering that is DoAnnex. So you'll find details about this training course at afc.org/trainings. So these are just one of the handpicked the opportunities and the trainings and fundings you can see from our resource hub and our opportunity page at AFC. So do well to go there and you'll see much more. And then we'll be moving into the meat of today's events. I know a number of persons are looking forward to learning from our trainer. And for today's training, we have Mr. Akubo Adegbe. He is the Senior Manager, Tony Blair Institute, and is the SSA on Delivery and Coordination Office of the Vice President of Nigeria. Mr. Akubo is a development enthusiast, management consultant, trainer, and business executive with over 20 years of experience in project management, strategy development, operations, business management, organizational development. He has worked and consulted for public, private, and development agencies for over 20 years. So I'm certain that you are in to learn a lot. And then he has previously led agricultural coordination and executive programs, driving Nigeria's National Livestock Transformation Plan and the Green Imperative Project, GIP, before joining TBC Nigeria and serving in the office of the Vice President of Nigeria. He has worked with SIDA as their program manager for the Polio Africa project, focusing on sub-Saharan Africa, and also as the head of operations of the Shopee Graduate Internship Scheme. He was the head of operation of the Youth Employment and Social Support Operations and the Deputy Team Lead of the Youth Enterprise and Innovation of Nigeria. That's the UN project. He has held several internship roles, and he has co-founded House Food and is the general manager of the Ariwa Cotton and managing director of Madaki Agro Services. So, Mr. Akubo, it's a pleasure to have you today on this meeting with us, participants. So let's go into the chat box and welcome him, give him a virtual clap innovation, and also share how excited you are about learning from him today. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, Mr. Akubo, and we look forward to learning from you. Over to you, please.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're from. Thank you for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's nice to see everybody here. I just want to confirm if you can all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, I can hear you, actually.
All right, fantastic. Great. So I have 20 minutes to have a conversation, and then we can do Q&A. I was just asking all the Changemakers folks how much time I had. Now, we want to talk about strategy, right? And strategy is a big area for businesses. And when you want to develop a strategy for a business, you go through several layers of wanting to first do some pre-strategy assessment. Where is the business? What is it that the business wants to do? What are the opportunities in the sector? What resources are available to the organization to be able to do the business? Is there enough resources within the target audience to be able to promote the business? Long list of questions, and developing a strategy can take you a long time. So I am not deluded into thinking that maybe 20 minutes or 1 hour session will help you to develop strategies that you need for your business. But what it can help you to do is stimulate the things that you need to go and do about your business. I know in this place, we've got all kinds of people, businesses that are starting up, businesses that are already running, businesses that are already successful and need to go to the next level, businesses that are struggling and need to be able to pivot or tweak something within their strategy to be able to go to the next level. So because of, the mix of folks that are here, I will speak generally around how we can, ensure that our strategies as a business align with business goals, especially for agribusiness. I'm also, mindful of the fact that agribusiness is a very interesting field, and is also very, very brutal, in the sense that you can start with certain assumptions and build a whole strategy around it. And then those assumptions can just come, hitting you, slapping you in the face. And you wonder, wow, did I really think through this before I did this? Because so many things are involved in that process. And it's possible that, some of us already have, clearly laid out plans that some things have happened to affect it, and we're feeling like, oh God, who sent me to do this? You're not alone. I've experienced from mild changes to big changes. I've experienced successful businesses. I've experienced unsuccessful businesses, even as a strategy consultant. And I've learned a couple of lessons along the way, and I'll be sharing those. I guess before we proceed, it's important that we clearly understand the scope of our conversation today, which is really around, understanding how to make sure that whatever goals our businesses have, we have strategies to achieve them. And that these strategies are not necessarily cast in steel, because they will evolve, as with everything in life. I need us to have a mindset where you know that there is nothing that is cast in steel to start with. And that flexibility must also always be built into strategies. I also want us to understand that we can have business goals or even objectives that we may have to tweak from time to time, because we need to respond to the dynamics in the business world. A story is often told about, businesses that didn't adapt their strategies to the changing world, and they are dead. And companies that adapted their strategies to the changing world, and they are alive. I think a clear case of one of those companies is Nokia, right? Nokia started as an agribusiness. They were in the wood business. And over time, they evolved into tech and all that, and did mobile phones that we all used. We also do know that as an organization, they did not continue to evolve. And so other companies came and took their space. So we need to be mindful of also that, yes, the fact that we tweaked our strategy at some point does not mean we rest there. There must be always a process of keep tweaking. depending on what the business environment is, depending on, business intelligence in terms of what have you forecasted in the environment that we think that things need to change. Some of us that, I'm in my 50s now, and when we started, we used to have, the camera, as you know, I don't know if anybody here is old enough to have known the camera that has film. Kodak, one of those companies that was really big on, the camera with film in it. And they didn't evolve their strategy. So they didn't meet up with the digital revolution. And the impact of that was that they died because other companies came with a digital camera, and the rest is history. As we have gone on, mobile phones have taken over the role of digital cameras for the most part. And every company that evolved a strategy based on changing times will be the companies that will survive. We're also in an age where AI is the thing. I was having a conversation with my son, who's studying computer science, and I was telling him that it's possible that the things you're studying in year one in the university, now, the things you learned in year one will not be relevant like in year two, because there's so much evolution. We had machine learning for some time now, and now it's AI, by the way, is machine learning. So there've been a lot of that in the past, but we're at this pace where things are really moving and it's fast-paced. And if you do not catch up with technology, you're going to die, right? So I want us to just lay this foundation for us to understand that strategy itself will need to evolve with our environment. It needs to evolve with strategy, right? Apart from all the different things I've done at the Tony Blair Institute, where I also work, we say we support political leaders with strategy, policy, and delivery, but with technology as an enabler. And so what we help governments to do is to make sure that, yes, your strategies are intact, your policies are great, but within a mix of strategy and policy, there are frameworks to make sure that the things you promise to do is done. But you will need to do that within the concept of using technology as an enabler. And so even for us as agribusinesses, we need to always ask ourselves, within the strategies that we have, how much of technology are we using as an enabler to make sure that our business gets to where it needs to get to? Now, to delve into, the things that first determine strategy. And let's look at Africa. So as agribusiness professionals, as agripreneurs, as we call ourselves, our strategy must first be based around the problems that we seek to solve as a continent. Every day you open the news, there are food security issues across Africa. Yes, we can say it's a global issue, but it's a bigger problem in Africa than you have in Europe or the Americas. And so we're a continent that is not able to feed itself. We're a continent that access to inputs is a challenge. We're a continent that access to mechanization services is a challenge. We're a continent where the infrastructure that we require for farming and transport and distribution is deficient. We're a continent that grapples with all kinds of issues, from malnutrition to poverty, to lack of infrastructure, to lack of access to finance. But each of these problems that we have are the things that presents us the opportunities to grow as agribusinesses. One of my favorite writers, Robert Kiyosaki, He says that money is a reward for solving a problem, right? So basically, if you solve a problem, you get paid. And so if we begin to look at the problems we have on the continent of Africa, the only way we can get paid as agribusinesses is to solve those problems. So really, at every point in time, we should be excited about, the problems that are there to solve. Because the business opportunities we have in Africa are much more than the business opportunities that we have in Europe or in the Americas, because we have more problems to solve. So the problems present an opportunity for us. And at the height of trying to align on strategy is to first even understand what the opportunities are for us in Nigeria, whether it's the insecurity issues, climate issues, inadequate financing, outdated farming techniques, our fast disappearing traditional systems of agric extension, lack of infrastructure, market access, use of technology. The problems are there. And for all the different businesses here, those problems present us with, opportunities to be able to grow as a business, to thrive, and to make money while doing it. Because ultimately, while we want to make sure that we empower the continent and make sure that we address challenges, we will not survive as a business if we do not make money. And so the various challenges that we face as a continent presents opportunities for us. I mean, there are lots of opportunities in the agri-tech area. That is, precision farming. I was having a conversation just yesterday with the head of TBI's global head of Tony Blair Institute's agri desk, and they came up with some very interesting concept of setting up innovation centers, because one, agribusiness, because of the theory of change really is that a lot of the interventions around agric in Africa has not worked because we're not thinking about agric ecology. And the idea is to create innovation centers where you can pilot some of these innovations and then within that area be able to scale, and all that. And it's interesting to see what the opportunities that brings around, precision agriculture, climate smart farming, and all that. But the supply chain issues, for instance, that we have on the continent presents opportunities, for trade and supply chain. The challenges we have with inputs, availability, and distribution provides a huge opportunity for us to do business, around inputs, supply, or manufacturing. I was having a conversation with some young people around how we could solve fertilizer problems in communities, right? How can we identify things that we can use for fertilizers within communities? Because if we have to, I don't know about the rest of Africa, the cost of fertilizer in Nigeria has risen exponentially in recent years. Is therefore not sustainable for our farmers to be able to afford fertilizer. If you wanted to do 1 hectare of maize and you needed 6 bags of fertilizer in Nigeria today, it's about 600,000 naira thereabout to be able to do that. And that's something that most farmers cannot afford. How can we create businesses to be able to address that? There is a funding gap for businesses. Fantastic. Those, again, presents opportunities for agribusinesses, because for people that understand the agri value chain, those people like us that understand the value chain will be better at being able to address financing challenges that basically affect agriculture. And I can go on and on to be able to link the problems we have as a continent with the opportunities that exist. But that's why we're here, and that's why this is more of a taster session for you, to be able to say, what problems exist in my environment that needs to be solved? How can I solve them? And that's what really takes us to this whole issue around strategy. And so one of the most important thing about aligning business goals to your strategy is really first to define the business goal. And that's at the heart of this. Again, there are several models for defining business goals, but I think for me, one of the ones that I found very interesting is a concept I saw in a book I read like 2 years ago. And if you have time, you can actually read it. It's a book called Built to Last. And they introduced the concept of BHAGs. They call it big, hairy, audacious goals. Like you're going for broke. I mean, I have these big, hairy, audacious goals in terms of, which are really bold and ambitious and visionary targets, that as a business, it challenges you to move out of your comfort zone. These goals challenge even the status quo. And so it's possible that, because as I said earlier, the businesses here are at different levels. Startups, growing, successful, wanting to pivot, those that are struggling, that need to pivot, those that have plateaued and maybe need to do something to ginger it. It's time to reflect, right? To say, okay, what are my big, hairy, audacious goals? Do I have one? Or do I want to reflect and create one based on my business environment? And these goals have to be something that even ab initio makes you uncomfortable. It's something that you can clearly see yourself to say, oh, in the next 10 years, this is where I need my business to be. So your goals, BHAGs really are like long-term visions. They are bold and challenging. They inspire you. They motivate you to be able to work towards them. And they are very clear and focused on what it needs to achieve. It's a driving force that keeps you going as a business, even when things are going bad, right? I mean, there are a couple of examples, just of big, hairy, audacious goals, right? So we're on the continent, so we know that the biggest telecom company on the continent is MTN. And they have this big, very audacious goal of connecting Africa, right? No wonder at every point in time, their expansion plan is to make sure that they are touching Africa. And so they're in one country today, another country tomorrow, because that's the motivation. If we come closer home, in Nigeria, we have the Dangote Group, right? Which says it's building Africa's industrial powerhouse. And so every time he wants to do something, he will do something big. As you know, last year, Dangote launched his refinery, and it is the biggest in Africa. Why? We are the powerhouse, industrial powerhouse of Africa, because they are driven by that. One of the companies I co-founded, called House Food, has an Africa vision. And really, we call it the online village markets. And the idea really is we want to deliver things to people in their houses based on village market prices, right? Which means the strategies to deliver that big, hairy, audacious idea will be different. We even took it a step further, such that because we have an African outlook as a company, Even our domain name is housefood.africa because of where we're going. We will not need to be changing domain name for different countries, but it's because it has a vision for Africa, it's housefood.africa. And so that's how it is being built from scratch. So for your business, you need to be able to visualize, where do I need to be in the next 10 years as a company? What problems am I solving now? How do I want to be seen? Because you need those big, hairy, audacious goals to drive you. And without goals, there can be no strategy, right? And so the first thing you need are your goals. They need to be big, they need to be hairy, they need to be audacious, right? And it needs to be something that drives you to where you need to go. Now, once you have these goals, that's when we then come to the stage of, okay, strategic alignment, which is the how, right? What can I do to make sure that I can achieve these goals? And this, again, in the realm of strategy. What can I do to achieve these goals? And that's when you are looking at your strategic plans. What strategies can I use to deliver this? And I'll keep this really simple, right? And maybe give an example of the company that of housefood, or the company that we run. So, big, hairy, audacious idea. We want to be local with village markets and online village markets, across Africa. To do that, you must first be able to get the product you are selling at a certain price. So whatever strategy you adopt must be such that your supply chain will deliver what you are selling at the village market price. And so question then is, how can you do that? If you are serving a city like Nairobi or Kampala or Abuja, any of the capitals in Africa, and you need to serve the people there with products at the village market price. How can you do that? How can you ensure that you're able to move products from places where it is cheap and to see arrive at the city center, and you're able to deliver to clients at a price that competes with the village market price? Your strategy will be such that you will then need to invest in the value chain, as we do with outgrow programs, to make sure that, we have contracts in place even before we go to farm, to ensure that these products arrive in our warehouses at a price that can get to the customers that is comparable to the open village market price. I'm giving that as an example of how to begin to tweak your strategy. Your strategy must deliver on your goals. But in a village market, you have everything that you need. One of the challenges with online grocery shopping is that you can't get all the things that you need. And if you're a village market, if you come to the village market and you move from store to store, you will get the different things that you need. If we're an online village market, how can we ensure? Because if I go to buy on Jumia Foods today, as some of you know, any of the groceries or Glovo and all that, they will take you to a shop. And the things you can get in that shop is limited to the things that are in that shop. So if I give an example, if you wanted to buy Iru, is a local seasoning in Nigeria, you may not be able to get it in the shop that Jumia Food has sent you to buy. And so after you've done all this shopping, you may now need to send somebody to your village market to be able to buy. How can we solve that problem as a business? Because if we don't address that, we are not a village market. That's example of how to begin to align your strategy. So at every point in time, you need to ask yourself the question, what must I do to achieve my business goal? And once you have identified some of those things, and for us, one of the things we've done is to say, okay, locate your warehouse in markets. And so in addition to having things that are supplied to your warehouse based on your supply chain, you have access to other suppliers within the market for fresh things and things that you may not be able to stock. But that took several iterations of looking at the business over a 3-year period of trying different things. And as I was saying before, the fact that you start with one thing does not mean you'll be there. There must be flexibility in the way you design the things that you do. And so you need to clearly have the things you must do to achieve your goal. What are those objectives? Yes, I must ensure that I have sorted out supply chain. I must ensure that I'm located in a certain place. I must ensure that I grow by X amount in terms of my sales by so period. I must ensure that I have the right staffing to be able to drive this strategy. And so every component of the things that you need must be things that align with the place that you need to go. If you want to expand across Africa, and Africa is both Anglophone, Francophone, and Lusophone, how do I deal with the language issues? There must be strategies to be able to do that.
Yeah, apologies. It seems we have lost our facilitator. We would give him a minute or two. Or Mr. Kubo, if you are on the call, we can't hear you. Seems you are frozen. Okay, so we'll give him a few seconds to have him rejoin. Thank you. Okay, so while we wait for Mr. Akubo to join us, if you have questions that you have been meaning to ask him after his presentation, do well to type them in the chat box, and we'll definitely bring it up to him so he could answer when he rejoins. And then if you do not have questions, I would love that we drop key takeaways. What have you learned so far from what he has been teaching? Yes, I think I can see Mr. Kubo is back. So he has been speaking for about 15 minutes, so do well to drop key takeaways. What was the thing you learned from all that he has shared? What stood out for you while he continues with his presentation? Over to you, sir.
Apologies. I computer froze. Yeah. So, well, I mean, so I've got 5 minutes more to go, right? And I will dive right into, the core things, right? And so what I was saying before I went up was really that whatever you do, you need to be sure that you answer the question of what must I do to achieve this goal? All right. And that's really key. And so whether it's in terms of your location, whether it's in terms of the technology you need to use, whether it's in terms of the kinds of people that you need to have, whether it's in terms of language capability, whether it's in terms of financing, because at the end of the day, your business will need to be financed. So part of your survival as a business is also to know, how am I going to fund this business? What strategy is best to fund my business? Is it crowdfunding? Is it, using all the money I have saved to be able to do that? Is it to just create my business in terms of the strategy? My growth strategy will be around what I can manage. I was having a business conversation with somebody recently about farming, right? And the idea was we developed like a 5-year plan. A 5-year plan to do 1,000 hectares of farm, right? And the investment the person needed to start with was 10 million naira. And the idea was, as a growth strategy, if you were going to spend 1 million naira per hectare and start with 10 hectares of a perennial crop, say maize or soybeans. And we're doing this plan based on maize, and I can share that as I try to wrap up. 10 million naira, 10 hectares. A good maize will give you anything between 4 to 8 metric tons, right? So we did a plan based on 5 metric tons per hectare. So the idea was really simple. Spend 10 million on 10 hectares and then get 5 metric tons per hectare and get 50 metric tons. Don't sell the maize, keep it. And this was a last year plan. Our projection is that by April, when you are ready to start planning the farming for 2025, maize will sell at like 100,000 naira per per bag, and 1 million per metric ton, 1 million naira per metric ton, which meant that from 10 million, you can get to 50 million by April of 2025, this year. And so the interesting thing, and this is a live project, right? So the maize was done on the 10 hectares. Incidentally, it didn't hit the 5 metric tons because there was some infestation of pests and and all that. And so it got like 3.5 on the average per ton. So that's 35 tons. That maize has been stored because part of the plan is to grow the business and not use the money, right? Because it's passive income. When I checked yesterday, maize is currently like 850,000 naira per metric ton. And so we're on track to maybe hit the 1 million per metric ton. And so if in April we will hit the 1 million per metric ton, this business will now have 35 million. 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 And with 35 million, he can then do 35 hectares of maize. It will spend less now because the amount of money spent on the initial 10 hectares is not what the business will spend on the 35 hectares. Now, notice we projected 50, but we can do 35. And that's how businesses work. Now, if you stretch, can you do, well, the idea was start with this and grow to it to 1 billion in 5 years. And so from 35, if you do the maths, you will see where it will get you. That is a strategy for this business. Raise 10 million from savings, keep reinvesting the money and growing the area of land under cultivation for 5 years. And you will hit 1,000 hectares and be able to do turnover of 1 billion. Now, different businesses will have different strategies. And so I've given this example to tell you that if you think through end to end, it's possible. But you then need to, once you have your strategies, have clear plans to achieve those strategies, put together the structures in place, the people, the funding, the system that will run this, your accounting system and all that in place to run it, because this is practical. This is where the rubber meets the road. So you have your goal already, you have your practical steps in terms of specific objectives, and you need to communicate this to everybody within the business. You need to break down your strategies into practical steps. What do I need to do? When do I need to do it? Which one should I do first? You need to identify the resources I need, from people to money that you need to be able to do the things that you need to do. And then you need to track your performance. And at every point in time, just relax. Like one of my friends would say, farabale. As in, it's a Yoruba term in Nigeria. It means like, take it easy, right? Take a chill pill sometimes, reflect, look at your strategy within the context of the environment, and then re-strategize and keep moving. But keep your goal, your big, hairy, audacious goal in front of you. Like the example I gave about this 5-year plan to hit 1 billion. That's the business goal. We will keep tweaking until we get there. So I'll pause for now and take questions and comments from you. Thank you for listening to me, and apologies for the interruption earlier.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akubo. That was quite an insightful session, and I believe our members on the call today would have learned a couple of things. So for those who have questions, if you have questions, do well to use the raise hand feature on Zoom to ask your question. And if you do not want to use that, you can type your question in the chat box, and Mr. Akubo is readily available to respond to those questions. And since Ade said, very insightful session, thank you so much. So you can also come to the chat box and drop in what was the key takeaway from today's session. What did you learn? What are you going to use? And from your learnings today, what are you going to do to improve your business outcome for 2025? Because in this 2025, we are going to be growing. So we're ready to take in questions, comments, or major key takeaways from all you've learned. Okay, so I can see a question from Kai. She said, Mr. Adegbe, can you share the book title again? And before you answer that, I can already see Amina saying, thank you, sir, very insightful session. And Sent is saying, goal before strategy, not strategies before goal. So I believe that is his major key takeaway from your training today. So over to you, Satel. Book title.
Yeah, it's called Built to Last. That's the title of the book. Built to Last is by Jim Collins and Jerry us. Build to last.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Kai is already saying thank you. So I believe she has heard and is definitely going to read the book. And she's sharing her major key takeaway. She says she took away the more challenges or problems, the more the opportunities to solve those problems. And her quote is, money is a reward for solving a problem. And I have a question here from Chinwe. She's saying, hello, Mr. Adegbe. Thank you for the insightful session. Her question is, do I need to have a working budget before I can make my strategic plan? Does the budget affect the plan?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. And just to say ab initio, the last thing you need in terms of developing your strategy is actually money. It's not the thing that determines your strategy, right? So once you set your goal, right, and you now say, okay, how can I achieve my goal? Of course, part of that will be, how can I fund the various things that I want to do? So I want to set up supply chain. I want to hire 4 staff. I want to invest in sales. I want to do this and do that to be able to achieve my goal. You've done all that. One of the things you also need to do is to then say, okay, you know, every business is scalable. Like the example I gave. You can go from 10 hectares, or you can go from 5 hectares, or you can go from 1 hectare. Every business is scalable. So the first thing you need to get is a business model. Funding will determine the scale at which you start. It doesn't determine whether you do the business or you reach your goal. And so don't get bogged down by how much money do I need. First, have your strategy, and then the amount of money you're able to raise based on the strategy, your funding strategy, will then determine at what scale you start. But build a business model that is always scalable. Always scalable. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you so much for that response. And then Samira said one thing that resonates with her is the review every step of the way, listen, learn, and then act. Angela is saying her takeaway is to be aligned to the place I need to be, relax and take it easy, reflect. I'm seeing for the books that can we get a soft copy. So I think it's Built to Last is, you should be able to get it online. And then I think if you're part of the AFC community, feel free to ask in the group, and anyone who has the book would do well to share it with you. And okay, Ruby Rose has a question. She said, how do you know that you have the right goals?
So first of all, your goal has to be smart, right, and resonate with your environment. There are no right or wrong goals. It's about your vision, right? So, which is, how far do you want to go? So, MTN says, connecting Africa. That's their goal. House Food says, want to be a village market. So it's at the heart of, for the business, the problem you see you want to solve, how far do you want to go? So your goal is really how far you can see where you need to be in addressing the problems that you have. So there are no right or wrong goals, right? And just to add, in terms of your strategy to achieve those goals, it has to be scientific and it has to be smart. And the whole idea of always testing whether your strategy is working is a review process. So I've said I'm going to do this way. But you must always review. The environment will tell you whether your strategy is working or not. So if you've done something for 6 months, you need to come back and ask yourself, is it working? Does it need more time? Or are the assumptions I had before I started, are they still valid, or are there things that have changed? So the process of reviewing, always review your own assumptions, because sometimes, especially for smart people, when you've gone through a scientific process to make assumptions, and based on those assumptions, you develop your strategy, you will put them in steel. Think, hey, this is where we park. No way. Things change and is evolving all the time. So challenge your assumptions all the time. If it's working, great. It can be improved upon. If it's not working, maybe you need to pivot, or maybe it needs a bit more time. But for goals, there can never be wrong goals. It's how far you want to go, that determines what you put down, which is why the idea of using BHAGs, I think go and read some literatures around BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. There's a lot of literature around it to give you an idea of how to really set goals that are beyond you and, drive you to where you need to be as a business. But whatever you do, don't plan to be a local champion.
Thank you so much. I think that would be my key takeaway. No matter what you do, do not be a local champion. Okay, so I'm seeing Miriam here is asking if they were going to be having recordings of the session. Yes, Miriam, you'd get the recording of the session. It will be sent to your email. And we just keep on getting more questions. Adele says, is it good to join salary end in a working place with business to achieve? I think he's trying to say, is it good for him to be employed in a working place to earn salary so that it will help you to achieve your business goals?
Yes, I mean, when we look at financing businesses, and I think one of the sessions you had last year on these platforms that I listened to around, funding businesses, right, is where do you get your first money? So like this person I developed this plan for is based on the person's savings from their work, right? So the first person that funds your business is you. And the easiest place to get money to do your business is, where you are earning money, right? So if you save part of the money you earn and make that as money for investment, it will grow to a level where you can use it to do investment. So yes, salary is actually the first place you can get money to invest in business. It's not just agribusiness, in any business, whether it's stocks or bonds or money market, capital market, whatever it is that you need to do, it's the place to start. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm seeing quite an interesting question from Seth. He said, is it possible in most cases that you can have a good strategy for your goal, but still not be able to achieve your goal? Can you elaborate with an example if possible?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And there are many examples. I'll give you one. One of the businesses I managed, Mandaki Agro Services, had this ambitious goal of changing the agri sector by investing in primary production. And the strategy was right. The people were right. Invested in several 100 hectares of wheat farm, and it failed for just one thing that as business promoters we didn't think about. Wheat variety that was planted is it can only survive, it can produce, it needs like 8 weeks of very cold weather to tassel and produce seed. And all the projections for weather from NIMED, from everybody, did not indicate that it was going to be heat wave, and there was heat wave. And so you had a grain farm that didn't produce grain, right? That's an extreme example of how dotting all these and environmental things will make sure not to hit your goal. Of course, there's a fallback position of, make sure your farm is insured and all that. So your strategies are based on what you know. They are based on the assumptions you have made. They are based on information that is available to you. Anything can change this. And so, yes, it's possible to dot all your own I's and cross all your T's and still fail because certain dynamics in the environment or a government policy will happen and throw everything off the line. There are many businesses that died in different countries just because there was war in Ukraine. There's no way you could have predicted that. But there was war in Ukraine. It disrupted global supply chain and created food insecurity problems in many countries because there was war in Ukraine. So what to do at every point in time is, yes, even the best laid strategy can fail. You must then do a risk analysis to say, what if this happens? What can I do? So within your business and the strategies and the goals, also do risk assessment and build in mitigation measures because anything can go wrong. One of it is to make sure that you can do insurance. One of the things you can do as a business is to make sure that there's some diversity. If you are producing things, one of the reasons companies produce different types of products is because, you know, if one is not doing well, one will do well because anything, you know, can affect it. So it's that risk analysis and being able to make sure that whatever happens, I will stay afloat. But never assume that nothing can go wrong. No, everything can actually go wrong. Hope that helps.
Thank you so much. And so this is our last question. Pius is asking for us. I can see us, so I think he's asking his questions for a lot of persons. He said for them that their capital is not much, how should they go about it? Advise us, please.
Build a business model that is scalable. Capital is the last thing you need. The 10 million plan that can go to 1 billion in 5 years can start with 1 million and go to 1 billion in 10 years. Can start with 500K and go to 1 billion in 20 years. Everything is scalable. And so one of the easiest ways I've seen with raising capital is first to do a proof of concept. So whatever amount of money you have, do a proof of concept, whether it's your savings or money you get from family and friends and all, use it to do a proof of concept. People are more likely to invest in your business if you have a skin in the game. If you have not used your money to do your proof of concept, you cannot tell other people to invest. So after you've done the proof of concept for a business that is scalable, you can then say, oh, guys, this is what I have been able to do with 200K. This is what I've been able to do with $100, $200, $300. I need to scale this now to be able to spend $5,000, and I need people to invest in it. People need to see your track record. And more importantly, as a person, are you trustworthy? Because the first set of people that will give you money are people around you. If people don't trust you at all, no matter how great your business is, they will not give you money because people are investing in you. They're not investing in your business. The first investment is in you. So are you investable as a human being? And have you proved the concept you are trying to push? So when you go to bank or private sector people or individuals, what they'll ask you is, what have you been able to do? First thing is to develop a business model that is scalable, prove the concept at a scale that you can afford to prove that concept, and then begin to explore funding sources. But don't start with funding sources because you have nothing to tell the people. I rest.
Okay, apologies. So your response has actually caused 2 more questions. So I'll just combine them in one. So that will be the last question
Yes.
for the day. Someone asked here, I think that's Samuel. He said, how can we know a scalable business model? And I think I missed the last question, but the question was, what is proof of concept?
A scalable, and I'll use it as an example, right? So I want to do poultry. Or I will use the same example I've been using. I want to do maize on 1,000 hectares. That's my plan in the next 5 years. But I need to do maize on 1 hectare first. That 1 hectare is my proof of concept. All these ideas I have about increasing yield to 10 tons per hectare, I need to show that on my 1 hectare first. When it works on that 1 hectare, I can then say, okay, let me do it on 5 hectares to see how I'm able to manage it. If I've done that over 2 years, I have proven the concept. I can show you clearly that if you invest this input, this is the output you will get. That's my proof of concept. But I've also invested in a business that can grow from 2 hectares to 1,000 hectares. That is a scalable business model. I hope that works.
So I believe that works. Thank you so much. It has been an insightful session. A lot of thank you for the insight. And it's amazing seeing that this is our first Thursday of the year. So I believe it has energized our community members and they are set to scale and grow this year. And I'm already seeing a lot of thank yous flooding in the chat box. So before we leave, we usually do that towards the end, but as facilitator would probably have other engagement. So we'd love everyone on the call to turn on their camera so we can take a snapshot of everyone. Do well to take those key takeaways in which you have been sharing, take snapshots of, take the screenshots of today's session, and then post it online, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Mr. Akubo is there, so do well to tag him. And I'm very sure he will give you a like if you post. Let us show him that you have learned a lot from today's session, and this is how you intend to use your learnings from the session in your business. So team members on the call, please let's do well to take screenshots and then we can have our facilitator to take a bow and continue with the rest of his engagements for the day. Okay, so I think we're going to do it like this. In 1, 2, 3, we'd give ourselves the best smile you've had today. So in 1, 2, 3, smile everybody. Okay, thank you so much. I can see a lot of beautiful faces. Thank you so much, Mr. Akubo. We look forward to having you come back for another topic because I can see that we have a lot to still learn from you. So thank you so much for being with us. We are very and immensely grateful. So we'll be moving on with today's the rundown of today's event. And next up would be having my colleague, our membership officer here at AFC, that's Nosa Obano, that he'll be taking us through the membership there. From a lot of persons who are joining us for the first time, be wondering, oh, what do we do at AFC? How can I plug in? So this is the opportunity you have to know how we support our members and how you can join our community to benefit from it. Over to you, Nosa.
Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you so much, Mr. Akubo. I really learned a lot from this session. Always invest in yourself because you are the one that attracts funding and not your business. So in all you do, maintain your trust with everyone. And a big welcome to everyone on the call. For those of us that are yet to become members, this is the right time to become a member and also network with other entrepreneurs in our community. But before I start, I would like to play a small quiz, a short quiz rather, with our participants. Let's see whoever on this call knows AFC best, African Food Changemakers. Let's see who knows more about the African Food Changemakers community. Please, team members or staffs, kindly don't participate in this quiz. If I see your name, I would delete you. Yeah, let's start. So you'll be able to get an invite. Once you receive that invite, just click on join. It will appear on your Zoom screen. It will appear on your Zoom screen. So let me know when you're able to get the invites. So if you receive an invite, kindly accept. The more people participate, the more interesting it is. So let's wait for more people to join. So once you start joining, let me know. Let's see who knows more about African food chain makers in our membership community. Yeah, I've seen Uberos, 2 participants so far. Once I'm able to get like 20, we start. And there's a prize, there's an award for the winner. So let's see more people come. We have 12 participants so far. We are reaching the 20 participants mark, then we start. I'm sure most of us will get all the questions, but let us see who emerges first. Team members, if you join, I know your names. I will not accept you, but you can join. Team, you have 7 more. You have 7 more. Let's join so we can start. For those that are saying they cannot join, you should see an invite to participate in the poll, in the quiz. It should reflect in your chats. Yes, we have 1 more. 14 has joined. Yes, on the top right of your screen, you should be able to see the invites. Let's wait for 2 more people, then we start. 15, yes. 16, yes. Check the top right of your screen, you'll be able to see the link. 17, yes. Okay. Okay, so we have our 20 participants mark. Let's start. So you should see this question popping up on your screen. You have just 20 seconds to answer each question. The fastest finger wins. 10 more seconds. Yes. So let's see who answered correctly. Next question, 20 more seconds. Let's see who of our members have been with us from the beginning of our programs and have participated in most of our programs. 8 seconds. Yes, this is to know who attended our just concluded agri-food webinar. So let us see members that participated in the agri-food webinar series. Very easy questions. Then finally, the last question. Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's see who emerged the winner. So we have we have Kachi Wanchuku, we have Chinwe Maju, we have Samuel Azuko. So the first and second are automatically deleted because I specifically said no team member should do that. So our winner goes to Samuel Azuko. So congratulations, Samuel. Let us see you. You got all the 4 questions correctly with the time of 1 minute, 12 seconds. So Samuel, please, if you are muted, if you are on the call, kindly share your video. Let us see you. Okay, please unmute him. Let me see. Congratulations, Samuel.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Samuel. So you answered the question,
Thank you.
and it's very impressive. It means that you've been following African Food Changemakers and you are conversant with what we do at African Food Changemakers. You got all the questions
Yes,
and
sir.
it's any single one. So congratulations. And for that, let's see what your prize is.
Okay.
So drum roll, everyone. For Samuel, so for winning the questions right correctly, you are entitled to our next member spotlight. So you'll be opportune to have our engagement with the communications team to engage you on our membership spotlights. You'll be free to be spotlighted on our social media pages, interview sessions, and the communications team will reach out to you on these regards. So we are keen on creating visibility for entrepreneurs and also their businesses. So congratulations once again, Samuel, and
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you.
yeah, so you can also drop your email in the chat box so that our comms team can pick it up and engage you. And for those that also
All right.
tried to win, the next first Thursday is also an opportunity to win another award. So watch out for that in the coming March 1st Thursday. Now to the action of today is the membership drive, and this is familiar of most of us on the call already see this slide in most of our events, and it's because we are a membership hub and we're always looking for opportunities to engage our community, to share opportunities with them that can benefit them personally and also their businesses. And I would like to also have our participants indicate in the chat box if they're already members of the community, and I want to see our proud community members spotlight themselves. Just put in the comment section that I am a change maker, and we'll also be able to share that spotlight with you. And for non-members who are not yet community members in our AFC Hub, this is a perfect chance for you to become a member of the community, because one of our key organizational goals is to see a million successful entrepreneurs scale and are doing well in the global space. And we do this by providing them with support. And I can see on the screen, our support is listed below. We help you strengthen and scale your agri-businesses. We also prepare your agri-businesses to enter new African and global markets. We do this through our programs. We have our Scaling Export program, we have our Brace program, we have our Leading African Women in Food Fellowship program, which are all targeted and helping you improve and helping you scale. We also facilitate access to funding, speaking and exhibition opportunities. That is, we are always engaging with stakeholders that can provide this access to our community members, and we facilitate such engagement with our stakeholders and our community members on how they can help our community members get this funding, speaking engagement, and exhibition opportunities as well. We also have a community hub in terms of our social media community, WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram as well, where we have community members across the continent engaging in dialogue, engaging in connection, networking, and also reaching out to each other. For most of our members, yesterday we had our experience service session where we dialogued on how you can also set goals for your 2025 businesses, and it was a very engaging discussion. With that, it takes place every Wednesday bi-weekly in our WhatsApp group. Then we have a designated resource hub and marketplace where our community members can upload their market products or services and also get access to resources that can help them scale, resources from financial support to grants to capacity building opportunities, even to events and trainings. Then we also enhance our community members' visibility by promoting them across our social media handles and also with media houses. We get interview sessions for our community members. We also get exhibition opportunities for our community members. And we also have access to global market linkages. We do this in several ways, from our membership marketplace on our hub to also facilitating exports facilitation for our members, for our programs, and to stakeholders engagements. Now I've spoken on how the benefits we give to our community. The next is to inform potential members on how they can become part of the community and also benefit from our community. The first thing you have to do is to either click on the link that my colleague must have shared in the group, in the chat box, or directly visit the AFC Hub using your phone or your laptop, www.afchub.org. Click on the join icon that shows on the home page, or you can also navigate to the login icon at the top right corner. On that login icon, you see a drop down. The drop down shows you two. First is login, second is join the community. The login is strictly for members who are already part of the community to log into the dashboard and explore the membership dashboard. Why the join the community is for prospective members to sign up and become eligible members of the community. Once you click on that join the community, it takes you to a registration portal where you are asked to answer some questions about your agribusiness and your personal profile. We require you to answer your questions accurately because it's what guides our interactions with you. Our resources with you is what guides us on how we can share the best benefits we have with you based on the information you provide. So if you're in the agri-food space, you are a particular focus area of value chain, indicate that in the registration page. Once you've done that, you are also required to click the submit button. Then after clicking the submit button, you would get a confirmation email that your submission has been approved, but your submission has been accepted, but you would be verified by the admin within the next 24 to 48 hours. Once that has been done from our own hand, because we have to review your information, review what you provided, then verify it from our hands. Once you've done that, you'll be able to navigate or access the membership dashboard and start benefiting from the AFC membership dashboard. On your dashboard, you also find links to join the AFC community, where you can interact with more entrepreneurs and also navigate through the marketplace, in the business showcase, the referral page, how you can also earn badges by referring more entrepreneurs. So out of all of this, we just require you to have three selection criteria, which is you must either own an agribusiness or you work in an agribusiness that you can make key decisions about the business. We also advise that your business should be in existence for at least 6 months before signing up to be a member. That means you must present proof of your business existing either through your CSC documents or some other certificate that shows that your business is eligible. We also require that you have a social media presence or a website. So we advise our members to also have a social media presence through their account, maybe Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or a designated website for your business. This is just to boost your visibility online because we are in a digital space and the importance of having a social media presence can never be undermined. Having said that, I would also like to encourage us to sign up. For those that are not yet members, quickly sign up on the link and signify if you have done that in the chat box. At this point, I would hand over to Anna to continue with the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Musa. So if you have not joined the AFC community and you meet up with all our criteria, do well to click on the link in the chat box and sign up to join our community. There's a lot you get to benefit when you come into the AFC community. Okay, so moving on to our next step and also closing for the day. So for our next action, we want to remind you that we have an funding series that would be commencing this month. So do well to register for this event. I see a lot of persons asking questions on funding. And just like our facilitator for today has shared that it is not just about capital. How do you manage this, your funding? How do you manage what you have currently? So the funding series is is one event or training and capacity session you do not want to miss. Also, for those who are already part of our community, do well to utilize the hub where you can show your products, your services too. It's not just for those who are into products. And it's not only for those who are selling food. If you have machineries, as long as it is linked to a product or a service within the agricultural space, do well to showcase those services and products on the hub. And also refer an agripreneur if you know you have been benefiting and increasing or you've getting value and AFC has impacted your business, and you do well to refer an agripreneur to join our community. And also stay in the loop to register for our next first Thursday. This is an event we have every first Thursday of every month. So stay in touch with us so that you can register for the first Thursday edition for March. And also do well to follow us on our social media accounts, African Food Changemakers. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, name it. Almost every social media account you can think of, we are there. So do well to follow us so that you can be able to stay in the loop of all our activities, our upcoming initiatives, and also subscribe to our newsletter, because that is where you get a whole detail of what we do here. And engage, for those who are members already, engage with community members in the knowledge sharing sessions that we have on our WhatsApp community. Engage in them. Always take the key takeaways you learn, post them on your social media platforms. This makes you, or it brands you as an expert in the agricultural space. So do well to share your learnings, your key takeaways with other people within your network. Engage those entrepreneurs, tell them to join the community. And one thing is, we are always open to receiving feedbacks. If you have feedback, complaints, and also not just complaints, if you have achievements, you've been able to, or you were able to get this is where you are at, this is your milestone. We are happy, we're always excited when we see our members growing, expanding, and getting much more better. So if you have complaints, if you have your wins, your achievements, and you have feedback, so we are open to receiving all of it. So do well to, you can reach out through phone, through email, or through WhatsApp to the membership team, and they will do well to address it. And basically, also subscribe to our newsletter, which I've shared already, and share the goodness of AFC, share the goodness of this community, share the goodness of everything you have learned from. So till we see you again, thank you so much for all that has stayed till the very end. And this is me giving you a round of applause. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for your engagement. Thank you so much for you've given us your time, your resources, your attention. And I believe you've gotten value and you've learned one or two things today that you can use to implement in your businesses. So till we see you again next time during the next first Thursdays, or I'm certain that I'm going to be seeing you during our agri-funding series, rather, our webinar series. So do well to register for it. And so we see again. Enjoy the rest of your day and have an amazing weekend. Bye, everyone.